like you're sexually active from masturbation, the better your genes think that you're still involved in recreation. So, great question. All right, let's get some more questions from Instagram. Can oral sex give you bad bacteria? Well, the vaginal microbiome is actually very interesting and replete with its own set of microbiome that's actually different than the oral microbiome. But here's the deal. A few years ago, a very famous actor got throat cancer and went through, thankfully, successful treatment for that throat cancer. Now, he got a lot of talk in the tabloids, but in fact, we now know that about 75% of all oral and throat, head and neck cancers are caused by the HPV virus, the human papilloma virus. And we all hear about HPV injections, shots, vaccines for young kids and prepubescent females. And we're now actually finding that men can contract the human papilloma virus from oral sex. Now, here's, I guess, the good news is that if you have a head and neck cancer that tests positive for HPV, and about 75% of them now test positive for HPV, that the treatment, the chemotherapy treatment, the radiation treatment is incredibly effective at curing that problem. Quite frankly, my long-term partner at Loma Linda, Dr. Leonard Bailey, eventually passed away this past year from recurrent head and neck cancer. And I am in no way saying that it was HPV because we didn't test for that back then. But the point is, that used to be a lethal disease, almost no cures. But now we're incredibly successful at treating that disease if you're positive for HPV. But be careful. And that is a real consideration. We now know that if you are infected with HPV, that's a consideration. The same thing we know about anal sex. Number one, please use protection. In my community of Palm Springs, a huge number of my patients are gay or lesbian, and anal sex is a huge part of their lifestyle. But just as you can get the HPV virus transmitted orally, you can also transmit the HPV virus anally, but we also see a large number of men get anal and rectal cancers from viral transmission. So let's be careful out there. That's all I'm going to say on the subject. All right, finally, can you fix Peyronie's disease with a lectin-free diet? So Peyronie's disease is where your penis is not straight, but it's got a curve like a banana, just like the things you see. Believe it or not, Peyronie's disease is an autoimmune disease caused by lectins. And I have a number of men who've come to me with that problem, and then we get a lectin-free diet, and guess what? Willie straightens right back up. So Peyronie's disease is curable with a lectin-free diet. I've seen it in my own practice. Okay, it's time for the audience question. Following my lecture on hydration, John Hall on YouTube asked, I've been drinking distilled water for 30 years. What about collecting fresh rainwater for drinking?